Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving, a great long weekend. My Thanksgiving was very chill, but since it is no longer Thanksgiving, I have decided to put up my Christmas tree. As you can see behind me, I have painted my nails a very pretty hollow red, and I am getting into the Christmas mood. So today I thought we could do a very glamorous holiday makeup look. We're going to be doing the full face, and by now I'm sure you know how much I hate really long intros, so we're going to get right into the makeup. As always, I'm going to start off today by applying a primer. Today I'm using the Benefit Professional Hydrating Primer, and you always want to start off with a fresh moisturized face. So I have already washed and moisturized my face today, and I'm just going to apply this to the more problematic areas of my face. So anywhere I have large pores, my chin, my forehead, and my nose primarily. And then with the excess product, I will go ahead and spread it all across the rest of my face. For brows today, I'm going to use the NYX Dip Shape Go Longwear Brow Pomade. And this does come with a brush and a spoolie, but I am not particularly fond of this brush. It's a little too long. It gets the job done. I'm sure it would be great for travel, but since I am at home, I'm just going to use my favorite brow brush, and this is from Lavish, and I'm using the shade Black because my hair is black, and I just found that even the ashy brown tones were too brown against my black hair. It just did not go together, so I'm using the shade Black. I always like to start by combing my brows up. I just find it gives me like my brow shape that I'm going for. It makes everything so much easier. And I always start by applying the product to the bottom part of the brow first. And then we're starting right here on the top of the brow. So not quite at the front, but you know, that helps give it a little bit of a more gradient effect. And then working the leftover product throughout the brow. I comb through it using the spoolie, and it looks a little bit messy, but it's gonna be fine. We'll cover it up with some concealer. It's okay. And then repeat on the other brow. I had been really wanting to try the NYX Dip Shape Go brow pomade ever since it came out, but my local Walmart is very late at getting new products. They finally got it recently, and I've been using it for a couple weeks now. I have to say I really love it. I originally just wanted the NYX brow pomade, but my Walmart was out of stock in the black. Pretty much all of it was out of stock, so I went ahead and got the Dip Shape Go. I'm guessing the formulas are probably the same, if not very similar to each other, so I'm thinking that I'm just gonna be buying NYX brow pomade from now on and skip it out on the Anastasia Beverly Hills brow pomade because it is so much cheaper, and I actually find the NYX stuff way easier to work with, so it's a win-win. To finish off my brows, I've been using this Pears soap to set them in place. So I just take a little bit of setting spray, spritz some of that on my spoolie, and then I just rub it into the soap and comb through. For eyes today, I was thinking we could do a very glamorous smoky eye. So I'm going to quickly prime my eyes using the e.l.f. 16 Hour Camo Concealer, and this is in the shade Light Peach. Just using my Luxie sponge to blend that out. I looked through all of my eyeshadow palettes, and the only one that really had the shades that I was wanting to use today was this one from LA Splash Cosmetics, and it is the Magic palette, I believe. It doesn't say anywhere on here, but I'm almost positive it's the Magic palette. As always, I will link all the products that I'm using in today's video in the description box below, but I thought this palette would be perfect because it has these more gold shades, and I think this one specifically will be perfect for the holiday season, and it's just the perfect palette for a smoky eye. I do already have a look very similar to the one I'm going to be doing using this palette when I got it in the November Glossy Box review and unboxing, because I got this in the November Glossy Box, so you can check that out using the card up here. But I'm going to be doing something a little bit different today. So I'm first going to start with the shade Sunstone, and I'm going to pretty much just set throughout the crease and the brow bone. I'm not going to apply this to the lid at all. Then I'm going to take the shade Aragonite and I'm going to focus that on the crease and the brow bone. Once again, this is just a good way to build up the intensity of your shades without going too intense too fast. That is exactly why I put the first shade on first, just because when you're going for a smoky eye look, it is best to gradually add the colors. If you just go straight in with black, probably not going to turn out very well. Black is very hard to blend out and very hard to work with, and once you apply it, you can't take it away unless you start over. So it's best just to start out gradual, and as I'm sure you can tell, I'm not being very precise with my shadow application. I'm just kind of throwing them on my eye, but I want to make sure that everything is very blended at the end. So that is really all that matters here. As long as it's blended and does not look like you just threw it on, it's fine. Now that I have that base of Aragonite on, I'm just going to slowly add a little bit more pigment until it gets as dark as I want it, pretty much as dark as it is in this pan, but now I'm only going to focus the shade on the outer half of my eye, still keeping it in the crease and on the brow bone. Now I'm going to use this Morphe MB16 brush to apply the black, and I'm going to just skip over this brown shade altogether because for this look, I really want the black to pop more, I guess. So I'm only going to apply the black on the very outer corner of the eye, and I'm first just going to start by building up that pigment. Then I'm going to go back in with that fluffy brush I was just using with the Aragonite shade. Using no additional product, I'm going to blend out the black. And then I'm also going to use this brush to kind of wing it out a little bit. Now I'm going to pick up a little bit more of Aragonite and then once again blend out the edges. Now that those edges are all nice and blended, I'm going to add a little bit of black back to where I lost a little bit of that pigment, and then once again blend with no additional product. And as I'm sure you can tell, I'm slowly working that black further into the crease, and that is exactly why I kept it very far out on the outer corner. And now I'm liking how that black is looking, so I'm gonna move on with the other eye. Okay, so I'm realizing now that when my eyes are open, I'm missing a little bit of black right here, so I'm just going to buff a little bit of that in slowly until I like how that looks. Now it's time to cut the crease, so I'm going to once again be taking my e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer on a flat concealer brush, and then just cut the crease. And then I'm going to take the shade Citrine and pop that on where I just cut the crease. And now that I have all of that shade on the concealer, I'm going to take the brush that I used the black with, and I'm just going to blend the two together, not taking any extra black, just whatever is left on my brush. And then I'm going to go back in with just a little bit more Citrine and apply that over that black, and then repeat on the other eye. Now I'm going to move on to foundation, but we will finish up the eyes towards the end. Today I'm going to be using the Tarte Shape Tape Matte Foundation in the shade Fair Neutral, just because when I do a glam eye, I like to have a little bit more of a full coverage foundation. And then once again, taking my Luxie sponge to blend that out. To conceal my under eyes today, I'm using the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer in the shade Cloud. So I really like this sponge in particular for blending out my concealer because I can just clean up any eyeshadow edges, any unwanted eyeshadow using the edge of this. I just kind of stamp out the shape of my eye. It'll look even better once I add the eyeshadow to my lower lash line, but you get the gist. And normally this is where I would set my face, but when I go full glam, I like to be extra snatched. So I'm going to double up on contour today. I'll be using the Tarte Pro Glow palette for my highlighting and contouring. It has this nice cream contour shade, so I'll be taking that to start. To apply my cream contour, I like to use just a little eyeshadow brush to start. I do not mess around with my chin contour. We're going hard with this. And then I'm just going to go ahead and use this brush to mainly blend out the nose contour. I'm not going to get it perfect with this, but it's gonna do most of the job. So now that my nose is pretty much blended out, I'm just going to use the sponge to kind of blend the rest of it out, as well as it'll add a little bit of foundation to tone down the harsh contour. But keep in mind, I'm not adding any extra product, just whatever is left behind. And then I'm just going to use the sponge to blend out the rest of the contour. To set everything, I'm going to be using the Beauty Bakery Flower Setting Powder. This is my all-time favorite setting powder. It just completely blurs out any pores. So you know I've got to use this for a holiday glam look. Since my nose still looks pretty harsh, I'm going to apply a pretty generous amount of powder to it that will not only blur out all my pores, but tone down the contour a little bit because we still have powder to add. I'm gonna let that bake, and I'm going in with the Too Faced It's Bananas setting powder under my eyes. This will help brighten the area up, and I just find that a pressed powder works much better on my under eyes than a loose powder, because for some reason the compacted powder just sets my under eye better without causing it to be too creasy. And then while I let the rest of the powder finish baking, I'm going back in with the eyeshadow to finish up the eyes. Before I get on with the eyeshadow, I'm going to line my waterline using this black kohl pencil, and then I'm going to once again go in with Sunstone to start, and then I'm just sweeping that all along the lower lid using the same brush. Gonna go back into Aragonite, and then I'm going to keep this slightly closer to the lash line and use that to kind of blend out the black a little bit. And I'm keeping most of the product on about the outer half of the eye, and then just blending whatever is left towards the inner corner. I've already added mascara, but I think the lower lash line needs a little bit more still, so I'm going to go back in with a little bit of black, and I'm just going to focus that on the outer third of the eye. For lashes today, I'm going to be using a pair out of this Dye Silk set that I got off of Amazon, and I'm gonna go with this pair right here. They're a little bit more flared out the outer edge, so I think that's gonna look good with what we got going on here. I always forget these lashes have a really thick band, so what I like to do to make them look a little bit more natural is take some black eyeliner and just extend it, and you can already see between the two eyes that makes a huge difference. Now I'm going to finish setting my face, still using the flower setting powder from Beauty Bakery, and also wipe off the rest of that bake. To finish up my face, I'm going to dip back into the Tarte Pro Glow palette, taking Sculpt to contour. And now I'm going to set this aside for a second and dip into the Alamar Cosmetics Blush Trio palette for blush, obviously. And since I have a very warm toned eye going on, I'm going to mix Castaway and Scorcher. With my blush, I always like to blend it into the contour, and I always keep it off of the apples of my cheeks. I just find that it looks better on me that way. I almost blend my blush into my eyeshadow. I like to take it that high. And then just a little bit on the tip of the nose. Going back into the Pro Glow palette for highlight, my all-time favorite highlight is to mix Strobe and Stunner together, and I go ham with it. In my opinion, you can never have too much highlight. For my inner corner, I'm just going to use Stunner to highlight. And now it is time for lips, and since this is a holiday look, I'm going for a bold red lip. First, I'm going to line my lips using this lip liner. It is I don't know how to say it because there's like an O in there, but I got them off of Amazon. Once again, I will link those in the description box below. For lipstick, I'll be wearing Half Caked in the shade 82 Bordeaux. To finish everything off, I'll be setting my face using the Skin & Co. Truffle Therapy Radiant Dew setting spray. And this is the finished look. Let me know in the comments what you think of this look. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. I upload new videos every Wednesday and Saturday. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!